Rap Circle is finally here. I know everybody been waiting for it,
Can you think of a single show? I can't think of a single show until I go back to like Three's Company level of humor that not once but twice had ridiculous shtick like Leia dodging 3 adults in the woods, and then the scene where Obi-Wan hides her in his trench coat and walks out amongst all the stormtroopers.
Oh god!
I had to go back to like Three's Company level of comedy, or like 70s Scooby-Doo jokes. Like it was like, I know Mini Me, and like there's that scene with Mini Me and Dr. Evil has a little bit of that, but even then you didn't see all 4 legs. Like I went to Muppet Man. Muppet Man's still like 2 legs. It's still not as cheesy. I'm like, how do we take a show? Like you're not going to hurt my feelings by them attacking me when the show is that absurdly dumb.
No, Pops, you're forgetting that Star Wars has always been campy, right?
Oh,
because
God.
I know. I've heard that too. Oh my god!
I cannot stand the most disingenuous thing I continue to hear within the comic industry, and it plagues it every single day. It's on every single Twitter page or Reddit page. Is that comics have always been political, and it's just this fallacy that continues to be brought up in arguments over and over and over again. And even Eric July will say it's completely disingenuous.
Absolutely.
And it's meant to make people shut up. And I think that's the same thing with Obi-Wan is the fact that, when people say it's always been campy, it's people who have never understood what Star Wars meant to people or why it was popular in the first place. So me personally, I haven't watched any shows that would level or be on that level of camp. I was gonna say maybe Loki, because like seeing Infinity Stones in a drawer just made me go like, are they trying to piss people off here? Like are they trying to be campy? But that
was more dismissive of the lore rather than campy, right? So I thought, like, are they basically just casting aside 20 films and 10 years of work by going, oh, by the way, the stones mean nothing because we're outside of time? No, I'm going to hide someone under my coat. So there's 2 adult legs and a kid's leg. Not the best idea for a company going through groomer accusations, by the way.
Oh gosh!
How dare you assume their human heritage?
Oh no. There are legs. There are legs. I didn't know Obi-Wan had a spare. I didn't know, but evidently
they were hidden this whole time. Come on.
Oh my god. So my question is then, are they okay? First, let me get through my thoughts here. I'm thinking out loud. Are they deliberately doing silly, stupid stuff like that as a way to jab at us type of fans? Because it feels very deliberate in such as, hey, look how silly we're doing this, or do they realize it's silly, or I'm just not understanding quite their logic, to be quite honest, and it hurts my brain.
I think I would go back to what Mike was saying with the writing, and this is my biggest thing. You heard me do a whole rant on Loki show, and we kind of did a little bit more last night. We did on Talk Hard. They're hired basically. This is like JV writing class. Like these are people who have no writing credits. They're way outside and above their skill set. And we saw this in the comic industry. And I've said this before on the show, but not maybe you guys didn't know. It's like the kids got me in the Marvel Unlimited app, so I was trying to dabble with, surely these modern comics weren't this bad. I mean, I know your boy Zach is literally showing me screenshots, and I have fact checked him several times. But let me read a few, and I literally can't get through panels. I literally use that also as my show and tell at work, where I'll show and tell panels from like America Chavez, and then I'll contrast it with 1990s Ghost Rider. I'm like, today I did it with there's a new series I wanted to see Miss Marvel stuff, and it was Love Unlimited. I said, this is Love Unlimited, and then I contrasted it with the 1970s Kirby art, and she's like, yeah, that looks like comic book stuff. I don't know what this is. I said, that's pastel art in modern comics, and I don't know. What do you guys think? Where's Mag's right and wrong? I don't know. I don't think they're smart enough to be intent. I think they're just this incompetent and don't care.
That's true. That's true.
I think it's a lot of that. And just speaking from the comic industry, the publishers and the editors that I have spoken to that have been in those writing rooms before and have been in a room with editors, a lot of the time they say it's either because they are overworked, and so they just kind of say, whatever, yeah, just push it through. And they don't have time to look over it, or they're lazy because they're trying to work on their own pitch that might get picked up by Netflix or something. And so they let it go through because they're like, again, they don't really want to look at the script or whatnot. And then even if there are editors who do want to look at it, they haven't had the experience to go, we need a character arc here. We need something to bring this character, like humanize this character in accordance to what the viewers want to see, you know? And so just little things like that. It happens in comics. It's been happening in entertainment, as we've seen. And so, yeah, I would have to agree with you, Pops. I think a lot of it is incompetence and laziness within writing and within editorial, because it happens with both, you know? They got to get through editorial. And so it's partly their fault too, whenever this stuff gets passed through. But
and Mike, you've seen this. I know I know you've mentioned it on at least one video. I can remember off the top of my head. It's like they admit they didn't read source material. They admit that they've not watched a certain video or comic book. They're not even like trying to hide the ball in the incompetence. And that can be not just the writing staff. That's been like showrunners and stuff, right? So it's like, yeah, I think you guys were talking about Loki. It's like, yeah, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I think it comes to the point where all these executives and producers and directors and probably even some writers, I'm sure some writers obviously are at the point where they don't care about the quality but the quantity, because it comes to a point where I think what you're more than likely seeing is industrialized entertainment, where it's just, you know, it's about the numbers. How much money can we make? And it's all about making the money rather than telling a good story and making a profit.
Yes.
Right? It's become disposable entertainment. Okay?
Like a conveyor belt.
Yeah, it's like, okay, here's your new fix. Let's jab the needle in you and shove it in that vein, right?
It's
then that's right.
Oh, sorry, go
it
ahead.
is. It's disposable entertainment. Here's your latest hit. You're gonna consume it, and once the effects wear off, you know, we're gonna hit you again, and that's it. And rather than wanting to produce a legacy of entertainment that, and again, that's what Star Wars is, for example. That's what old Star Trek is. That's what a lot of older stuff is that's been around for, like James Bond, for example, right? Over 50 years. When you create a good legacy of repeatable entertainment, because when I watch a movie, I want to be able to say, buy the DVD, buy the Blu-ray, God, like even back in the day, buy the VHS tape or something like that. I want to be able to be entertained every time I want to watch it. I don't want to just buy it and forget about it. I want to be able to enjoy it over and over again. And now with this, you can't. It's just like watch it one. It's like, oh God, I'm glad that. And it's now at that point where you're like, God, I'm glad that's over.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we have to take pause and say of a great joke. Dave Bob, it's freaking gold, bro. Wade was a wuss and got took out by a box of spare parts. I have to be honest, man. I hadn't heard anybody make that joke. That's pretty good, man.